I didn't mean to remember the scent of her hallway, warm linen and something faintly sweet. But the moment I stepped inside, it all came back. I was early. I knew that. 20 minutes early. I stood outside her door rehearsing a lie about traffic or my clock being off. But none of it made sense, not really. I just wanted to see her again, sooner. And then the door opened. That robe. Cream-colored. Soft. Loose at the shoulders. She blinked, caught between surprise and something unreadable, and said, "You're early." I almost apologized. Almost said I'd wait outside. But then she laughed, that low, breathy laugh like she didn't expect herself to. "Well, come in then. I guess you've ruined my timing." She stepped aside, and I walked in, careful not to brush against her even though the space was tight. Every step felt louder than it should have in her quiet apartment. I took a seat at the edge of her couch. She disappeared into her bedroom with a casual, "Give me 5." And I said okay, probably too fast. The room was dim. One lamp on. No music, just the tick of a clock on the wall and the distant sound of water running. I stared at a photo on her shelf. Her, smiling with wind in her hair, standing beside someone cropped out. I looked away. She returned in jeans and a black top, brushing out her damp hair with her fingers. I didn't say anything at first. Neither did she. Then, "You look nervous." "I'm not," I lied. She smirked but didn't push. Instead, she walked over, sat on the opposite end of the couch, just enough space between us to feel intentional. "You're always on time," she said, reaching for the glass of water she'd left behind. "Except today. I just didn't want to wait." She paused, glass at her lips. That look again, the one I couldn't read. Wait for what? I didn't answer right away. My fingers tapped lightly on my knee, then stopped. "For the next time I'd see you." Silence. Not uncomfortable, just charged. She stared straight ahead like if she met my eyes, something would shift too fast. "You shouldn't say things like that," she said quietly. "Why not?" She didn't answer. Just set her glass down with more care than necessary and stood up, walking to the window, arms folded. From behind, she looked untouchable, but her shoulders weren't quite steady. I watched the way her fingers dug into her own arms. "I don't do this," she said finally. "Do what?" "This. Whatever this is. I've done messy. It doesn't end well." I stood. "Maybe it's not messy." She turned. "You're 25. So, I'm not." Her voice cracked a little on that line. Not from shame, from something else. "I don't care," I said. And I didn't. Not about the years. Not about what anyone would think. She looked at me like she wanted to believe it. Like part of her already did. But then, the knock. One sharp, sudden knock at the door. She didn't move. Neither did I. Another knock, louder this time. Her lips parted like she was about to say something. Or confess something. But then her phone buzzed on the table, lighting up with a name I couldn't ignore. Her ex-husband. She saw me looking. Our eyes locked. Hers wide, mine tighter. The knock came again. And she whispered, barely audible, "Don't answer that." The knock stopped. But the silence after it was worse. She still hadn't moved. I watched the way her jaw tensed, how her arms stayed crossed like armor. The phone kept buzzing, the name still lit up. Daniel. I looked away before she could catch the expression on my face. "I didn't know he still comes around," I said. "He doesn't," she replied. "Not really." Her voice was flat, practiced, like someone who's said it before and didn't believe it even then. I wanted to ask why she hadn't blocked him, but I didn't, because I already knew. She still felt responsible, still felt guilty, and maybe she should. Maybe that's what kept her from letting me in completely. "He left 2 years ago," she said, almost like she owed me an explanation. Said I was too cold, that I made him feel like a stranger in his own house. I waited. I didn't even cry, she added. Just made tea and folded the laundry. My throat tightened. She turned toward me. "What do you know about that kind of silence?" More than I wanted to admit. "My mom used to clean like that," I said, "after my dad left." Her face softened. Just a little. I didn't plan to say that. But it was out now, floating between us like a thread we both recognized. She took a few steps toward me, the space between us shrinking. I didn't think you'd understand. I do. A long pause. Not awkward. Just real. She sat down again, closer this time. Our legs nearly touched. I told myself this was harmless, she said, eyes on her hands. Having you over. Talking. Laughing. Letting you look at me the way you do. I almost reached for her hand. Stopped myself. And now? I asked. She didn't answer. Just looked up, eyes locking with mine. Tired, cautious, but lit with something she hadn't let out in years. Now I can't tell if I'm being foolish, she whispered, or if this is the first real thing I've felt in a long time. I swallowed hard. She was my former professor's ex-wife. That's how we met. A boring university dinner I didn't even want to attend. We'd barely spoken that night, just traded dry jokes about the food. But after the divorce, she'd started tutoring part-time. We ran into each other again at a bookstore, of all places. It started with coffee, turned into hours, then days, then excuses, and now here we were. A knock on the door, her name on my tongue, and all the reasons we shouldn't sitting quietly between us. She reached over suddenly, not quite touching, but close enough that her fingers brushed mine. It wasn't bold. It wasn't planned. But neither of us pulled away. The touch should have ended there, accidental, forgotten. But it didn't. Her fingers stayed. Light. Barely there. But enough. Enough to short-circuit the part of me that knew this was wrong. She looked at me then. Direct. Like she was daring me to say something. Or maybe begging me not to. I should go, I said, voice thin. You won't, she replied. She wasn't wrong. Another knock. Then silence. The phone stopped buzzing. The world outside the apartment faded, like it didn't matter anymore. Does he still have a key? I asked. No, I believed her. I just didn't know if that made it better or worse. She stood, walking toward the kitchen. Her shoulders were straighter now, too straight, like she was trying to become someone untouchable again. You hungry? She asked. I didn't finish dinner prep, but you're doing it again. She froze. Doing what? Pulling away. A beat. Her back still to me. And you, she said quietly, are too young to know when someone's protecting you. Then stop protecting me. That got her. I saw it in the way her hand gripped the counter. Footsteps in the hallway. Fast. Stopping right outside. Then a voice. Male. Sharp. Familiar. Amira? You in there? I knew that voice. Cameron. My classmate. Her son. My chest tightened. She looked at me over her shoulder, eyes wide. I didn't know he was coming, she whispered. You didn't tell him about us. There is no us. But the way she said it wasn't convincing. Not to me. Not to her. Another knock. This one rushed louder. Mom. She moved fast, straightening her top, brushing her hair back. I stood frozen, not sure whether to hide or stay. I didn't ask for this, she said, eyes flicking to me. I did. The doorknob turned. She hadn't locked it. I stepped back just as she opened it a crack. Hey, she said, blocking the view inside. I thought you were out with friends. Yeah. I left my charger here. Thought I'd grab it quick. She nodded, too quickly. I'll get it. Wait here. She closed the door behind her, slipping into the hallway. I could hear their muffled voices, his casual tone, her too controlled one. I paced. The walls felt smaller now. Every second ticked louder than the one before. She returned, eyes searching mine the moment the door clicked shut again. He didn't see, she said. But he will. She didn't deny it. And then, too fast to think, she crossed the room. Stopped just inches from me. I should tell him, she said. Then do it. I'm scared. Me too. She leaned in like she was about to kiss me. Lips almost touching mine. Then stopped. Breathing shallow. A pause. I can't, she whispered. But her hand never let go of mine. I couldn't sleep that night. Not because of what almost happened. Because of what didn't. She'd pulled back. Whispered I can't. But her hand had stayed on mine long after the words faded. And now 3 days had passed. 3 long, silent days. I didn't text. She didn't call. But the quiet wasn't empty. It was loud with everything we weren't saying. I tried to distract myself. Gym. Noise. Friends who didn't ask too many questions. It didn't work. Until I saw her. At the bookstore again, of all places. Like the universe was laughing. She stood by the travel section, holding a book she wasn't reading. Hair tied back. No makeup. A scarf tucked neatly into her coat. She looked tired. And beautiful. And like she didn't expect to see me either. Our eyes met. Then she looked away. I walked toward her anyway. "You've been avoiding me," I said. She didn't argue. "I thought it would be easier," she said finally, still staring at the book in her hands. "Is it?" She looked up. No, there was something in her face I hadn't seen before. Not guilt, not fear. Just exhaustion. "Do you regret it?" I asked. "I regret letting it get this far." That stung. I stepped back slightly. "But I don't regret you," she added quickly. That stopped me. She sighed, pressing the book closed. "I've lived quietly for so long. Carefully. I don't know how to want something without ruining it." "You didn't ruin anything," I said. "Not yet." She gave a bitter smile. "Cameron asked if I was seeing someone." My chest tightened. "What did you say?" I lied. Of course she did. The silence stretched between us. "I saw you once," she said suddenly. "Months ago. You were sitting on the stairs outside my building. Headphones in. Reading." I blinked. "You didn't say anything." I wanted to. But I watched instead. For 10 minutes. "Why?" She hesitated. "Because I felt something. And that terrified me." I didn't know what to say. She reached into her bag, pulled out a slip of paper, and handed it to me. Her handwriting. An address. A time. "Tonight. I'll be home," she said. "Alone." My pulse picked up. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. "Because I'm tired of being afraid." I stared at the paper, then at her. "Do you want me to come?" She opened her mouth, closed it, then nodded. I leaned in, too close. Her breath caught. "I'm going to kiss you," I said quietly. "Soon." Her lips parted. But just before I moved, someone called out, "Hey, Amira." We both turned. Cameron. Again. Walking toward us. She froze. I shoved the paper in my pocket. He was smiling. Clueless. And she looked like she couldn't breathe. Cameron didn't recognize me. Or pretended not to. "Didn't expect to run into you," he said, giving his mom a quick side hug. "I thought you hated this place." "I don't hate it," she said. Her voice was strained. Controlled. "I just haven't had time." His eyes landed on me. "You look familiar." My stomach twisted. "We met once," I said quickly. "That dinner at the faculty lounge. I was helping Professor Grant." Cameron's smile faltered for half a second. "Right. You're the guy who asked about publishing." "James, right?" "Right." The lie tasted sharp. He turned back to her. "Anyway, I just came to grab something for Dad's birthday. Thought I'd surprise him." Her face changed. Not obviously, just a blink, a flicker of tension around her mouth. "You're seeing him again?" she asked. "Sometimes. He's trying, I guess." Cameron shrugged. "Honestly, he seems different." Different. Like he hadn't tried to come back 3 nights ago. Like he hadn't knocked on her door with his name flashing on her phone. She didn't respond. Just nodded like it didn't hurt. But I saw the way her hand tightened around her bag strap. "I'll see you at home," he said. She hesitated. "Later. I have errands." He kissed her cheek. Then looked at me again. "Good to meet you." Again. And just like that, he walked out. We stood in the aisle, frozen. "You lied," I said. "So did you." "Fair." I watched her closely. "Are you still in love with him?" "No," it came fast. "Too fast." "But you're still afraid of him." She didn't answer. "Did he hurt you?" She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just whispered. "Not in the way you're thinking." Something shifted then. "You told me he left," I said. "He did. And now he wants back in." She exhaled. "He called last week. Said he missed the quiet. Said I was the only thing in his life that ever stayed." I shook my head. "That's not love. That's control." "I know." "Then why are you still answering his calls?" Her eyes filled. Not with tears, with something worse. Shame. "Because I don't know if I'm allowed to be wanted again." That broke me. "You are," I said. "You always were." She turned away. "I can't be the reason he finds out about us," she said. I can't be the mistake that wrecks my son's trust again. Then don't make it a mistake. She stared at me. Something like hope flickered, and then died. I canceled tonight, she said. What? I left a voicemail while you were sleeping. Said you couldn't come over. I stepped back like she'd slapped me. You chose him. I chose fear. I didn't speak. Couldn't. Please go, she whispered. I turned and walked out. She didn't follow. But just as I hit the door, her voice behind me, cracking open, I never stopped waiting for someone to come early again. The voicemail came at 2:17 a.m. Her voice was low, careful, like she was afraid someone else might be listening. Don't come. I'm sorry. I just can't. Then static. Then silence. I didn't delete it. I just replayed it over and over until the words stopped hurting and started numbing. For 2 days, I kept my distance. She'd made her choice. I had to respect that. But it didn't feel like respect. It felt like cowardice. By day 3, I cracked. I didn't text. I didn't call. I just showed up. Same hallway. Same door. Same scent of warm linen and 1,000 questions. I knocked once. No answer. I knocked again. Footsteps. Then the lock turned. She opened the door, this time in jeans and a loose sweater, hair messy, eyes swollen. For a second, she looked at me like she forgot how to breathe. I shouldn't have come, I said. No, you should have. She stepped back. I walked in. The apartment was dim, unchanged, except for the half-packed box on the floor and the framed photo of her and Cameron, now face down on the table. I told him, she said suddenly. What? Cameron. I told him everything. My heart thudded. He was angry, she continued. But not about you. About me. About how long I let myself disappear. I didn't speak. I just listened. I kept thinking you were the risk, she said. But I was the one who never chose anything for myself. Not once. She took a step closer. I loved Daniel because I thought love meant staying. No matter what. Even when I went invisible. Another step. And then you looked at me. You really looked. And I didn't know how to survive that. We stood inches apart. Every word felt like a thread, slowly stitching something broken. I told myself I had too much to lose, she whispered. But the truth is, I already lost myself a long time ago. I reached out, finally, and touched her cheek. You found yourself again, I said. I just got lucky enough to witness it. Her eyes filled. We didn't kiss. Not yet. We just stood there, forehead to forehead, breaths tangled in the quiet. I don't know how this ends, she said. Neither do I. Do you care? No, a beat passed. Then another. I want this, she said. Even if it's messy. Even if we get it wrong. So do I. She nodded slowly, her hand curling around mine. And that was the choice. Not loud. Not perfect. But real. No promises. No guarantees. Just the start of something neither of us could deny anymore. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. There was no music. No montage. No perfect sunset. Just slow mornings with too much coffee. Unanswered texts from her ex. A few awkward glances from Cameron that slowly softened with time. We didn't post photos. We didn't tell everyone. We just let it be ours. She started sleeping in again. Not because she was tired, because she finally felt safe. I started writing. Not essays. Not papers. Just thoughts. Things I was afraid to say out loud. Most of them were about her. We still fought, sometimes. She'd pull back when things felt too good. I'd push too hard when I got scared. But we were honest now. I don't want to disappear again, she told me one night, sitting on the kitchen floor in pajama pants and a hoodie I left over. You won't, I said. And if I do, then I'll wait at the door. Early. Every time. She smiled at that. Cameron came around eventually. It wasn't easy. One night he asked me, point blank, do you love her, or are you just chasing something complicated? I didn't flinch. I love her, I said. And she's not complicated. She's just real. He didn't say anything for a long time. Then he nodded. One of those slow, reluctant nods you only give when you're letting something go. I just don't want her to get hurt again, he said. Me neither. He didn't need me to be perfect. Just sincere. That was enough. She kept the robe. hung it in the back of her closet. Said it reminded her of the first time I saw her clearly. I asked her once, half joking, if she'd ever wear it again. She smirked. Only if you're early. And sometimes I was. Because it turns out love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, patient. Sometimes it's the space between the knock and the answer. Between fear and the decision to stay anyway. We never defined us with labels. But we chose each other. Every day, even when it was hard. Especially then. And somehow, that felt louder than any love story I'd ever read. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?